But if you're anti-establishment, what comes next? Ask people that. What is the next sentence? Okay, we overthrow the establishment, we achieve our goals. What do you put in its place? Because then you become the establishment.
Cenk Uygur, in his crusade against what he terms the far left, has been talking a lot about the establishment and being anti-establishment. Emma Vigeland and Sam Seder of the Majority Report broke down what they view as anti-establishment. We're going to take a look at clips from the Majority Report. I'm going to chime in on what I think of all of this as well. Let's get into this together.
Max Lefty. Speaking of populism, Max Lefty. Sam and Francesca spoke about anti-establishment being problematic when you don't have an ideology. Can you speak about that? Yes. Because in one instance, if you are just merely anti-establishment, really what it is, it's daddy issues. I mean, that's what it breaks down to. And the problem with that is that you can fight the establishment, but then you create a vacuum. And if you do not have an ideology that is behind that anti-establishment, and by ideology, I mean a perspective on what you would do in leadership. Like, what is the programmatic ideological framework in which you would have government? Then what happens is if you fight the establishment and you win, there is a vacuum. And undoubtedly, some of the other anti-establishmentarians, they have a program. They have a plan.
It's easy.
And they have an ideology, and it's a right-wing one.
It's easy to be anti-establishment because if that were the standard, we are. Like, you know, we vote for I voted for Democrats. I encourage people to vote for Kamala Harris, and it didn't work out. But the point is just like, yeah, the establishment isn't working for people in the sense that our administrative state is going to be gutted by the Republicans. We have slashed taxes on the wealthy, and income inequalities through the roof because of neoliberal and right-wing policies. But if you're anti-establishment, what comes next? Ask people that. What is the next sentence? Okay, we overthrow the establishment, we achieve our goals. What do you put in its place? Because then you become the establishment. Once you overthrow the establishment, you are the establishment. Look, then what is the future that you're building? Because for the left, it should be focused on decommodifying the essentials of life, housing, food, healthcare, etc., making sure that we aren't slaughtering people abroad in genocides in Palestine and all that kind of stuff, making sure, bringing our resources home to our communities. That's our vision. So what is the anti-establishment vision beyond people just saying they're anti-establishment? Because that's just a branding exercise, and not something that serious people are engaging in when they're talking. It's what Jimmy Dore was doing.
That's exactly where that, I mean, it was...
It's a way for capitalists to pretend they're revolutionaries, because you could just say anti-capitalist is even more clear.
Yes, here comes the same boss. Here comes the new boss, same as the old boss. It's just that now I'm different. But the point is that the reason why this is important is because how you go about being anti-establishment, what you start to dismantle of the establishment. And again, that is supposed to be just a means, not an ends in and of itself. But how you approach that is a function of your ideology. For instance, like the Dartmouth basketball team stopped their unionization drive today, or maybe a day or two ago. And why are they doing this? Because they don't want to go in front of a Trump National Labor Relations Board and establish a precedent. You cannot establish a precedent as a National Labor Relations Board unless there's a case in front of you. It's like the same thing with the courts. I mean, supposedly, you cannot establish a precedent unless you are adjudicating a certain situation. So there are times where it's in your best interest, based upon who you're up against at any given time, to actually retreat and save the fight for a day when the battlefield is more to your favor. I mean, this is like literally basic Sun Tzu
strategy.
And so all of these things are important. The idea, and this is obviously like a general philosophy, but the last time it came up was during Dore, when we were talking about his tack to the right. Because when you're untethered from any type of like genuine ideological project and all you're doing is railing against and howling at the moon, you get led astray.
Sam and Emma are correct with what they're saying. And with what Cenk Uygur has been saying for quite a while, he said this in his debate with Francesca Fioretini on her show, The Habituation Room. He kept talking about Trump being anti-establishment. Well, maybe Trump, I mean, I don't really think that Trump was ever anti-establishment. You know, maybe the establishment of the Republican Party didn't want him to win in 2016. But he now is the Republican Party. The Republican Party is MAGA, and MAGA is the Republican Party. So he's been president once. He's going to be president again here in just a few days at the time that I'm recording this. So Trump and Trumpism are the establishment. So I don't know what Cenk Uygur thinks what is going to happen within MAGA that will be anti-establishment, that will be progressive. I just don't understand how that works, because Donald Trump is going to be there to represent the oil companies, the pharmaceutical companies, the insurance companies, the ultra wealthy in terms of tax cuts. So there's nothing anti-establishment that Donald Trump is going to do. You are seeing the civil war with MAGA over the H-1B visas. Donald Trump is going to side with corporations on that. He has these people's votes now, so there isn't anything anti-establishment that Trump is going to do.
Particularly if you don't seem to have any sort of a rudder.
Why would it be so bad if Peter Thiel got on there? What's the difference?
Exactly.
I mean, that's anti-corruption, right? And this is kind of an extension of that I remember Michael saying this, and I'm butchering it a bit, but this was changed my perspective on it. Specifically how Dore treated the Lula story, right? Where, that's corruption on its face. Locking up Lula.
I want a Lava Jato t-shirt.
Yeah, right. And you find out, well, sometimes corruption in the way that it's deployed by bad faith people like the Bolsonaro administration and the right-wing freaks down there, it's trumped up and it's used to lock up one's political enemies. And so corruption is also can be amorphous if it's said by the wrong people. So it's about what you choose to cover, what you choose to lend credibility to, and who you, through your skills of discernment, is being earnest when they're actually trying to take on powerful interests. And, if you're in the news, you should have a pretty good sense of who that is.
Thames Darwin says, Bill Fletcher said that the right-wing populism is the herpes of capitalism. He was saying that in the same way that herpes outbreaks happen under stress. Capitalism under stress produces populism. Left-wing populism correctly targets economic elites. Right-wing populism targets elites other than economic ones. Or if it does target economic elites, it focuses on their alien nature and targets them as cultural elites.
That's a great
Thus,
point.
the logical endpoint of right-wing populism is anti-Semitism.
Yep.
I mean, you can see this playing out. The idea that the establishment is that Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy, billionaires, are not part of the establishment in this country is bizarro.
But Soros is, and why is that? I mean, Thames Darwin, what a great I am. That's exactly what it is. That's exactly it.
And
We should get Bill Fletcher back on.
when you talk about, we should actually. When you talk about who have been the sort of talking point targets of the right-wing populism that is arguably ascendant in this country.
And Sam and Emma are right about this as well. What is happening right now with MAGA being upset with Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy is not the fact that Elon is trying to exploit workers and is exploiting foreign workers with these H-1B visas. They want these people here to basically be indentured servants who they can make them do essentially whatever they want, because they're under the constant threat of being sent back to their home country. So, as Sam Seder and Emma Vigeland are saying here, the right-wingers and MAGA don't care about economic populism. They are only upset with Elon and Vivek because they don't want any immigrants here. They thought Trump was going to deport everybody, and now Trump, again, he has their votes, so he doesn't care anymore. But he's all in favor of bringing in these immigrant workers that tech bros want to use and want to exploit. So the right wing is only upset from a racist and xenophobic standpoint. They don't care about workers being exploited. They don't care about American workers being exploited because it's the free market. They are only upset with Elon Musk because they don't like immigrants. They don't want any immigrants here, essentially. The people like Laura Loomer who are arguing against Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy. But let me know in the comments what you think. Do you agree with Sam Seder and Emma Vigeland's assessment of what is anti-establishment? Because this is something that Cenk Uygur has been talking about a lot. He seems to think that Donald Trump is still anti-establishment when the guy's going to be serving his second term as president. I don't know how a president can be anti-establishment, but let me know in the comments what you think. This is Chris on Culture. I will see you in the next video.